All right. Welcome, everyone, to the final Tribal Council of Trinity Survivor, past and present. It's been a long, crazy season. We've seen blindsides, we've seen chaos, we've seen breakout rooms, and we've seen people fight, we've seen people cry, and at the end of it, we are here with three. Jay, Pietro, X. One of you will be crowned the winner of this season at the end of this. But first, let's start with some opening speeches. As Pietro won the final immunity challenge, he was given speeches in, and Jay is up first.
Okay, so I think I played really well in this season. By day 3, I had found my tribe's idol, and by the end of the next challenge, I was gifted the skull charm from the other tribe. And when the Nathan tribal happened, I didn't really consider playing either on him just because it didn't seem like too good of a game plan for me. But the next tribal happens, and the tribe really was like past versus present. And Chris asked me for the skull charm, and I was like, if I give it to you, will you play it on Jake? This target gets bigger, Jake stays in the game, and it's like all the pros without any of the cons for me. That goes on, and we get to the third tribal, and me and Chris were talking and realized that Arthur was literally just copying and pasting what he was saying to both of us. And so I told him, I was like, look, can we just get him? Like, I really hate people who just can't at least, who, like how Aubrey likes to say the word dialect, he liked to say the word personality. So I was just over him. Dialogue, whatever. The Jesse vote, it was pretty easy in my opinion. I think everybody just kind of wanted to make it to swap. And the swap I was really happy about. I had the alliance with Josh, Chris, Jake, myself, and my alliance with Nikita on that tribe as well. So I felt in a very good position. I was able to get information that I felt like would help me. When the merge came around, Logan is somebody that I like playing with from 10 Gauge. And so unfortunately, that didn't really last too long. I, oh my God. My biggest, my strongest aspect in the games, I feel like, is I'm very adaptable. I don't consider myself like a physical player at all. I like, well, maybe not game related, but I can talk. And so when one of the proudest moments for me was at the Nikita tribal council. I didn't vote Nikita. I voted Chris. And I did that because, for one, Chris, for me, I had always said I didn't want to go to the end with Chris. As much as I adore him, he will slaughter me in the end. And then for two, I also was like, even if he does stay, I don't think he'll think it was me. And I had been told that Nick was throwing his name out. So it was real easy for me to be like, hey, as like flashy as the move the final 5 was, I really value my move at that point. And at that point, kind of like what I said in my answer to Kyle's question, when he asked like, what was the most controversial thing you did? While I don't think I did anything controversial, I was very cocky in multiple parts of the game, because by the time final with anyone targeting me, I knew I was safe. I knew that nobody was basically going to vote for me. I became the first person in Trinity history not to get any votes and make it to the final tribal council. So I played a good game. The final 5, for me, it was really easy. I always knew I wanted Caleb out because Caleb to me was playing the best game hands down. And so I did worry though that it was like, if Jake and Pietro decide to split votes on me, I need to think of a way to make Pietro and X comfortable enough to think that I for sure would not go against them. So I lied to them and told them, like, if y'all want Chris gone, I'll play my idol on Caleb. I don't care. I just think I never intended to do that. I played my idol on Chris, got Caleb out, and One of the most heartbreaking moments for me in my org experience was whenever Chris messaged me after that saying, we have to find a way to get Pietro's vote. Because at that point, like I said, tribal councils before that, I already knew what I wanted to happen and who I wanted to sit next to. So for me, it hurt, but I wanted to play this game as, even though like obviously I had emotions and obviously I cried, I still wanted to do what I thought was best for me to win. So yeah, that's basically my speech.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Pietro is up next.
Well, hello guys. I'm just so happy to be here and sitting in the final three. I really never thought I was going to be able to make it once in my life, but I'm here. So, first of all, I just want to apologize if I say something wrong in English because you all know it's not my first language, so that has been something really hard for me going to this game. I began this game in a really good position. I was in an alliance with every single one in my tribe except for John, and I made sure that the one person I was not working with was going home that round, and it was really easy. And all the alliances that I was not a part of, I knew. And besides that, I never really had to go to tribal again pre-merge, so I didn't have to do anything pre-merge. So once we merged, everyone was against Logan and Axe, and I was really close to Logan. And I was Logan. I tried to put some votes on Billy. Then I realized, okay, it's not going to work. So let's just put some votes on Billy because maybe someone plays an idol on Logan or something like that. And this was definitely one of the dumbest moves that me and my alliance with Bodhi, Nick, and Nikita could have done. Because in Final 12, everyone was like Final 2 with Jake once we merged, and he was just giving me all the information that about like what everyone was talking, and he was just telling me before if you are screwed. So you need to do something, otherwise you're gonna go home this round. So unfortunately, I've tried to tell my alliance out, but they were just so sure that like all the votes were next, we were fine, and I was like, okay, it's time for me to like jump that ship, move it on. So I had to turn on my one of my allies, which was Bodhi, and okay, Chris is here. And by voting Bodhi out, I feel like it opened a lot of doors for me in the game, and it made me go for like a position where I was really in the bottom to one of me, Axe trusted me, Jake trusted me even more, and I also had Nick and Nikita with me. So at that round, once Josh's name came up, I was totally wanting that so badly because like me and him, we never talked game. And I even made sure that Jake and Nick, like both of them really wanted to keep Josh in the game. I made sure that Josh was going home because it was like really my own game. And after that, we were split into tribes of 5, which I thought was the end of the road for me, especially after Jake beat me in that challenge, endurance challenge. So I was like, okay, I'm going home because everyone know I have a final 2 with Jake. Everyone know I'm super close to Nick on the other tribe. So I don't think anyone would want to keep me around out of Kyle. So I really made thousands of promises to Axe. I really told him I would keep him over Jake, over Nick. I did what I tried. And he kept me over Kyle, which was really shocking to me because I thought I was going home that round. And everyone knew I had an alliance with Nikita, and I tried to get the votes out of her, and everyone was like, you're just trying to do that because you're working with her. I tried to warn Jake that like we didn't have to let Nikita go, but he was just so sad on Nikita. And I told Nick, I was like, Nick, there's no way we can save Nikita, so I'm just gonna shut up. Like, you have immunity, you can just be vocal about it, but I'm just not trying to save her anymore because it is all blowing up on our faces. And Nick told me, I don't care, I'm gonna take the blame, I'll be fighting for Nikita till the end. And I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna Nikita off because there's nothing I can do to keep her. And what I mentioned, it really happened because it really blew up everything in Nick's face at the next round because everybody wanted him out because he was just so extra. That was something good that I did because I was able to chill myself into a position where I knew I would be safe. So I feel like being chill when I knew my name was going around, being chill when like I knew that some allies of mine were going home. I feel like I really adapted myself to a situation that like even losing allies, even losing friends, I was still in a good position and in a safe position. But unfortunately, after the game, and it was really hard because after that, I was like, okay, I don't trust anyone else. I'm super alone in here. But so I just really had to fight for my life at that point. I really finally came to a position where everybody was coming to me and asking for my vote. Everybody was just really talking to me finally. And I feel like it was the tribal Caleb went home. Previously on that tribal, I went in a breakout room with Jake, and I was like, Jake, I think Jake's gonna play another increase. So if you could put your vote on Caleb, please just make sure Caleb is going home and not me. And so like I never really had the intention of splitting votes on Jay at that round. I really wanted Caleb and Chris out of the game until like final 304. I won the final endurance challenge, which was super hard. I couldn't feel my fingers. I'm just so proud I made it. I was a part of you, Jay, for lasting that long, but I was really in there for win. So I feel like it proved myself that I wanted to win, fight to win, and I'm gonna fight in like every scenario that I can. And that's it. That's my speech.
Okay, thank you, Pietro. And up last.
Hi, Jerry. This is my first ever Final Three. But coming into this game, I figured I would have a target on my back. So I figured I realized very quickly people who were aggressive in this game and wanting to do and were not staying in the game. So I waited my time. I kept talking with Bodie. I kept talking with Angel. I kept Josh thinking I had his back. I tried to set myself up to where I was in a good spot, but I wanted to wait my time to strike. I had a good connection with Bodie. I had one with Angel, but I went out of my way to build one with Kyle, Caleb, and Brian. I do believe I succeeded on that in the blind side of Josh. I wanted him out. He was a power player. By doing that, I built that me, Angel, and Bodie were, at least I was good with them. I really think the only bad thing that came from that was obviously my relationship with Nick, which I did try to spare, but probably didn't do too well. But I set myself up to where I was not in danger of before the merge. No one was really after me, and the one person that was left right at that next tribal council. The connections I had again in this game, the pre-merge showed that, and the merge excelled at showing that. Going to the merge spot, I was like, oh, I'm chilling. And y'all proved me wrong with the biggest slap in the face. I was excluded from an 11%. Someone that people thought I was close with left the game. I was not in a good spot. That was a wake-up call for me, and it's one I needed, but it's one that I took very serious. I realized I need to step back. I need to be out there being crazy, saying things, being paranoid that I was excluded. I was probably going to be going out very quickly after that. What I did to ensure that I stayed in the game was I still made sure that people for people, and I believe people swooped in and took their chance at that vote. And it helped me not only build trust with someone like Jake, who was seriously saying they didn't trust me. I was able to build trust with Pietro, someone that I did talk to a little bit pre-merge, but not a lot. Caleb, I was building a little bit more trust with Nick because the people that he was working with were starting to want to use me or trust me, whatever the case may be. It set me up in a good spot. It took me 2 rounds. I had to let Bodie go. There was not much I could do. I was not in a position to be like, well, Bodie, I want you to stay. I had to agree to the vote and to tell people no. I had to be aware of that. The next vote, Josh. I'm quite happy Josh left. I didn't feel any connection with Josh. We didn't talk at all pre-merge because we were never on a tribe together. And by the time we were finally on a merge tribe together, it just did not go our way. But it was another vote I just had to be, you know what, y'all do what y'all want to do. And from the final 11, after receiving 5 votes, I didn't get another vote till final 4. I was not targeted, other than obviously I guess Nick wanting me gone. But aside from that, no one targeted me. I didn't get votes, and I was sitting pretty. I had to make the quick decision to jump ship on the quickly with Billy obviously being swap fucked and leaving the game. There was no point in me sticking with Caleb and Kyle as a 3. I need to keep the connection and the hard work I had built with Jake and Pietro. I needed to keep that. I knew they had Nick. I needed to be in a solid position. Having a 3-person alliance is great unless you have other people pissed at you. So I jumped ship. I voted Kyle out, and I stand by that. It was a decision I had talked with Caleb. He knew it was coming, but it was one of my better moves because it did set me up in a good spot. Moving forward, Nikita, like everyone has said, was the first tribal and was blindsided from that. But Nikita, I think, really was a little aggressive when they got immunity, and it was easy to peg Nikita as that target. Moving forward at final 7, it was a crazy vote. Me and Caleb realized we needed to set ourselves in a good spot. I really did trust Jake, Pietro, and Nick, but when you trust too much, you have to live and learn. And that's when I live and learned with Nick. I realized Nick, whether he actually wanted me out this game or not, was saying my name to Pietro. He was saying my name to other people. At that time, it was, we'll keep him for more and more vote and vote on out. It's time to go. And it was, I think, flipping at that point set me up in a better spot than I would have been if I had stick with Jake, Pietro, and Nick. As much as I loved and trusted them, it was time to make a move. And Nick left at 7. That put me in still a great spot at final 6. But that was about all it did. Yeah, me and Caleb had a decision if we were going to vote with Jake and Pietro or if we were going to vote with Chris and Jay. But we still had to make a decision that got us past 5. We both felt that it would be very easy for the lone survivor, whatever duo we split up, the other 3 to work together and just pick us off. But me and him were able to definitely pick the right duo. We picked Jay and Chris. We voted Jake out. A big factor in that, though, was Jay winning immunity because it did not give us great odds if the vote were to tie at 6. Because as much as I know Jake and Pietro wanted rocks, they would both be safe most likely from that. Jake obviously threw the tie vote, and Pietro having a 1 in 3 shot at going to rocks. Probably the odds were not against him. It was against me and Caleb. I was losing an ally no matter what at that point. So I decided that Jake, he was a bigger threat. I figured it's time to just lose Jake at that point. I think I was still set up in a better spot moving forward, so I made that decision. It was not a fun decision. I generally liked Jake in this game. We talked a lot, but it was a decision I had to make. I believe that at Final 5, that was a great position to be in for me because Chris and Caleb were heavily targeted. Me, Jay, and Pietro did not want them in Final Tribal Council. We all saw them as threats, and that was hard, but it had to happen. I was able to win Final 5 immunity. Imagine me winning a mental comp. If anyone has seen me spell, they know I ain't mental. But I was able to win that immunity. But as fate had it, I can't have immunity and be in the majority of the votes. I was blindsided by Jay's move. I did truly believe that Chris was leaving. That was my mistake, and I lost Caleb. I lost going to Final 4 with Pietro, who I felt wouldn't vote me, and Caleb, who I felt wouldn't vote me. But I was still in a good spot at Final 4. Even with Caleb gone, Chris was still the bigger target. I didn't need immunity. Jay and Pietro chose to keep me from their own decision. They probably felt that I was an easier person against Chris. But I continuously in this game worked my ass off every single vote to make sure I was in a good position. I had to adapt a lot in this game. I had to sometimes just be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna have to do. I couldn't lead everything. I wanted to lead everything, but I was not the person people were viewing as someone to follow at all, like at all. And that was just something I had to be aware of. And I did just that. Anytime I was targeted in this game, my connections, whether it be because people wanted my vote or because they truly trusted me, kept me safe time and time again. I didn't truly need immunity in this game for a large part of it. I don't truly believe I needed immunity at Final 5 either. But with that said, I was able to showcase an actual social game for once. I was doing my best to talk with as many people as possible and not ignore them. As much as I missed the fact that I missed any conversation with Josh in this game, I didn't let that be the case for anyone else. I continuously talked, considered, and planned out my moves. Everything from Final 8 on went exactly how I wanted, except for obviously Caleb leaving at 5 instead of 4. But with that said, I truly believe that I did everything in my power to overcome and adapt everything that was thrown at me. And I hope that I get more chance as this goes on to explain, but I don't want to bore y'all too much, so thank you.
Okay, thank you, finalists. So at this time, we are now going to turn it over to the jurors. One at a time, they will get their opportunity to address you. And first up tonight is Josh.
Hey y'all, y'all can hear me, correct? Y'all, yes, okay.
Yeah.
I would first like to thank production, Julian Keaton, and I guess there was someone else on production that I don't know. But I would like to thank everyone that, had any part of production. Thank you for hosting. I would also like to congratulate all the final 3, Jay, X, and Pietro. You all played good games, and you deserve to be here. That being said, I really have no questions tonight, only statements. The first statement being I was severely underwhelmed with each of your speeches. I thought we were going to get to see reasons why you won the game or should win the game, but instead we got 3 rehashes starting from the very beginning, like we were watching a Survivor retrospective. We know your games because we were voted off and we had alliances with you. I feel like you all missed an opportunity to tell us why you deserve to win and focus more on giving us some episodic American Horror Story saga about the past 2 months that we were all witnessing. That being said, I'm gonna first start with Jay. Jay, coming into this tribal council, I actually was 100% going to vote for you. My vote was set. I didn't really want to vote Pietro for reasons we'll get to. I didn't want to vote X for reasons we'll get to, but I was going to vote for you until 2 things. The first biggest thing that made me want to doubt voting for you was the fact that you said you never intended to go to the end with Chris, which by extension of that, I can probably assume you never intended to go to the end with me. And one of my biggest things about my game and people I like to vote for in Final Tribal Council is loyalty. And up till this point, I thought you were truly loyal with me. Now you were loyal to me in the vote with X, where I went home, but I think if I would have remained in the game, you wouldn't have been loyal to me. So that's the big over question mark just hanging in my game. And then the second thing is you just talked about your social connections and how you played a good social game. But when I'm listening to the jury, it seems like the jury disagrees with that. And one of your main downfalls might be your social game, because a lot of people have said that they didn't get to talk to you. Well, I do believe it's impressive that you made it to the end with 0 votes. And I do think that you have decided, you did a really good job in that. It just might be the case that after this final tribal council, you also still have 0 votes casted for your name, unless you can explain to these people where your social game comes from. Then we move to Pietro. And my biggest thing about you, Pietro, is I just heard you talk more in your speech than I ever heard you talk to me at all. And it wasn't like I was ignoring you. I would try to, have conversations. Nick told me to talk to you. When I would talk to you, you would ignore me. Now, I do think you have a better aspect of social game, because there are people on the jury that genuinely want to vote for you due to their connections they had with you. So I'm just going to take that the reason you weren't social with me is because you didn't trust me, which is no fault of your own. But the biggest thing is, I was really looking for something to differentiate yourself from Jake, but you've yet to really give a clear distinction of where Jake's game ended and where your game started, other than when Jake got voted out. So that's just my biggest thing with voting for you, is I still yet to see moves you've made for yourself that were. I initially got put into the jury. I said that if X made the end of the game, I would vote for him. And that was, I told Bodie that, I told Logan that, and I was really feeling like I would vote for you if you somehow managed to make it to the end of the game, and which you did. But the moment I really feel you lost my vote was with my only interaction with you, really this whole game, was in another group game where, despite me rooting for you, you called me bitter because I took you out of a game. And the issue with calling a jury member bitter is because it gives this notion of that somehow your game is so much more deserving than the other two, that if someone doesn't vote for you, it's out of bitterness and not because maybe Jay or Pietro deserved it. But the biggest issue I have with you is you talk about your social game, but when I hear people on the jury talk about you, they do not talk about you in a positive light in regards to how you treated them. Not many people feel like you treated them correctly in this game. And to me, one of the biggest things I look for in a winner is some people to have the ability not only to vote people off, but to do it in a way where they don't leave people feeling personally hurt or attacked. And then this whole notion of this calm, collected fire X, I really never saw it. Every time I had anytime anyone talked about you, it was you just flying off the handle. So honestly, I really was torn about who I vote for. Do I vote for Jay, who apparently wasn't going to be loyal? Do I vote for Pietro, where I can't really see his, gameplay? Or do I vote for X, who assumingly thinks I'm bitter because I'm not going to vote for him in this weird theory he concocted in his head? With that being said, I took a lot of things into consideration in casting my vote. And really, it came down to Jay and Pietro. And at the end of it all, I decided that I'm probably going to vote for Pietro tonight. And Pietro, I would just like to say that one of the reasons you might not get votes is because your game was kind of under the radar to some people, including myself. So I think it would really, really behoove you if when you answer the questions, try to really focus on what you did to win the game and not focus on any other thing that you just focused on in your saga of a speech. Now I'm the one rambling, so I'm going to cut it off here. Thank you for having me. Congratulations, X, Pietro, and Jay. I wish you the best of luck answering these other questions. Jury members, I would like you to remember that, in terms of we're really that honest most of the game. So sometimes I think maybe the reason Pietro and Jay may not have talked to us so much was because a lot of us proved to be untrustworthy, even myself included. So good luck. I'm getting off now. I probably won't talk to you, to some of you ever again. No insult intended, but I'll look forward to seeing whoever wins on the blog page. Thank you once again, Julian and Keaton.
Thank you, Josh.
And I hope the rest. Oh,
Sorry.
and I hope the rest of the jury members have some good speeches planned.
All right. Thank you, Josh. If you're hopping off, send me your vote on. Okay, he's gone. So Logan has said he wants to go next. So go ahead, Logan.
Okay, congrats, Final Three. I'll say a little surprise that all three you made there. X, you're gonna get my vote easily. So, since it was betrayed by some people by lying, I want you all to give me the truth and nothing but the truth. Why do you not deserve to win? Why?
You guys understood what
Oh,
I said. You guys understood what Logan said, right?
I think I understood the last part of it. So.
I did
Basically, I'll just clarify it just so everybody. Logan wants you guys to be brutally honest, 100% of the truth. You have to mention why you don't deserve to win, and who of the other three next to you would you vote for to win?
Wait, can somebody repeat the first half of what Billy just said that Logan just
Sorry.
said? Because I couldn't hear that either.
Sorry. Logan wants you guys to be brutally honest. He wants you to basically say why you don't deserve to win, and which of the other three next to you does deserve to win.
For me, I'll say that, yeah, I didn't talk game with a lot of people. I talked mostly just about like life and stuff like that. So yeah, I didn't talk game with a lot of people. Why other people did play a pretty good game. I'll give him where credit is due. He did manage to avoid elimination when his name was brought up. Pietro played a good social game. He was talking to people. So yeah, that's what I have.
Well, I think that if I don't win the games, probably because I played a really under the radar game. I was not like making flashy moves, really vocal moves. I was really chilled and just making my own moves in my own place. So that's probably why I want big credit. Played really aggressive since like he was gonna be going home at the beginning of the merge, and then he still made it to the end. And Jay, I feel like he was. I think like when he needed to make a move, he made a move. I'm gonna say that like he didn't. I feel like at the end, it played the beginning of the merge, he played at the end of the merge, at the end of the game.
Alrighty. I think there's a clear reason you're picking not to win as to why I don't deserve. I did have to be aggressive this game, and I did not send people out in the best of manners. Sadly for me, I had to step up and be aggressive, or I would have just been sitting where many of you are sitting right now. So in that sense, I did not send you out in a very good way, and jury management isn't all, so that's my fault. As to why the other two beside me deserve to win, if you're looking at Pietro was basically kind of like a silent assassin. He was quiet, but he was still a part of a lot of. Jay, despite being at work the majority of the day, still maneuvered this game and made it to the end. But that could be a good or bad thing. But that's my answer.
Just letting you three know, you did miss the second half of the question. Who would you vote to? Who would you vote next to? Like, not if you did.
I guess I would vote Pietro. I think overall long term he played a more compact game than Jay, who I think his fault was that he was constantly working, which is it's a life thing. But I think focus on game. I think Pietro paid more attention to the.
I would probably do X. That's probably who I would have voted.
I would have voted for X too because I admired the aggressiveness in his game.
Okay.
That's fine.
Anything else, Logan?
Nope, I'm good.
What question? Did Logan say he was
As
not
opposed to
voting me to
saying-
win? I didn't hear.
Guaranteed his vote.
That's okay. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear it. It was a little robotic-y.
So nobody has posted they want to go next, so whichever juror wants to go.
Well, if we're all going to sit here in silence, let's have the person go who never did that. Ding! Okay, just a second. Okay, coming. Where's the camera button? Oh, hi guys. It's me, Nikita NJ, 8th place Gen Sport of Trinity past and present. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Now, first off, congratulations to all three of you. I know, if anything, the three of you have like a whole lot of work put into being in this position. Roads, and no matter which way this slices out at the reunion party, I'll say it again, but I live for all three of you. And truly, congratulations. Now, when voting for a winner, despite popular belief, I don't necessarily vote for who I think is the best player. What I want for wins this season is going to be the person representing it. You know, when people think of Trinity winners at war, sure, there's amazing people, but we're all going to be thinking Tony, you know? I want to vote for someone that I feel would represent what I would want a winner to look like from this season. And funnily enough, I feel like each of the three of you, for Nikita, miss a certain piece of the pie. And so I'm going to use my questions to see who really has what it takes to be the just dessert. And I'll go in alphabetical order. So, hey Jay, nice to meet you. Congratulations on top three, I'm Nikita. Now, throughout the game, I do see where you come from when you say that like you were in a comfortable spot. I think hearing your speech, I was a little bit in the unknown for what you did. And hearing you state your case definitely illuminated some things for me. But what I feel like I'm missing from you to crown is, I would say out of the three, what I miss the most is, in a word, desire. I feel like Pietro would be willing to go into like palpitations to get to this spot. I feel like X would probably chop off somebody else's leg to be in the spot. And I think part of what comes with not being online as much is being able to not really communicate how much this crown is important to you, like the other two. And so my question to you is, if you were to win, what would it mean for you? Or would it just be a
For
stroll in the
me
park?
to finally win one of these, it would mean just the fucking world for me. Like, the first time I came in and played, the first season I played in New Beginnings, I feel like I did the reverse of what I did this season of I came in, played too hard, too fast, and look where that got me. I showed too much desire at that time. And I really want this. This wasn't like, when I was at work, it's not like my game mode clicked off. I'm basically a glorified cashier. Like, I had plenty of time to think. So it's not, I'm disappointed to hear that you think that I didn't desire this, because I fucking do. Like, this, I wouldn't vote someone out who I'm literally crying over if I didn't desire the win. That right there would show how much I want this. During this game, Chris became like a brother to me, but I wasn't going to let that get in my way. I want this fucking win, and I know I have the desire for it. If I didn't show it, I'm really sorry. but do not take that as me not wanting it. I fucking want it. I know. Oh my God, that sounds so stupid. I want it more than like any other game I've played. I want this so bad. And if I won, it would mean the world for me, truly.
Stunning. Well, I wish you luck. And look at you. Bald, snatching your own wig. Live for that. Alrighty, next in the alphabet, Pietro. Nice to meet you. I'm Nikita. Congratulations. Pietro, Mr. Raven, we have come such a long, well, you've come such a long way. And to put what I'm missing from you in a word, what I'm missing from you is confidence. And let me explain for you why. Throughout the competition, you mentioned that you had an alliance with everyone on your tribe, and I agree. And playing the game and getting to play with you was a pleasure, a delight. I learned about Big Brother Brazil. I'm sure I taught you something, hopefully. And it was a fun party. But when it came down to making votes and decisions, I was honestly a little surprised to hear that you felt like you were close with me. Because like when I looked back and thought about it, I was like, sheesh, like I can't really think of a time that Pietro was completely open with me, apart from John. And especially as the game progressed, looking at the people you said that you did want to take to the end, you didn't really protect me. You couldn't protect Bodhi. You didn't protect Nick. You didn't protect Jake. And it looks like you couldn't protect Caleb either, which was an idol. That's like a half point. So combining that with what seems to be like plans that didn't necessarily go through, along with the fact that talking with you about the votes kind of resulted in like, we just don't have the numbers. Boy, oh boy, what are we going to do? In my mind, getting to sit there and stew over it, I feel like I didn't get to see a confident, driven Pietro. And if I want the winner of this season to have a semblance of like, I did that, you know? Like I knew what was gonna happen and I did it, you know? And I don't feel like I got that from you. So my question is, was there more to you than someone who was just a little nervous, a little scared, just happy to be there? And if there was more to you, what would that be? Wait, it dropped my bean. What would that be?
Okay, so I thought I was really close to you at the swap at the tribe, like you were my number one at that point. But until the voting name came up, I realized that like I really thought like, okay, there's nothing I can do. And I went to you and I was like, Nikita, we have to make a move on Josh. And you were just telling me, no, the majority is on X. Let's get X out. So I was like, I was really trying to get to make a move with you, but you were always so focused on making the easy decision to go X. That was like really annoying me. So I was like, okay, like I cannot get people to make a move. And that was something that was like really pissing me off. I was like, okay, I'm down to make a move, down to blindside someone, but no one wants to. Like at the final 13, I tried to blindside Billy. I tried to pull Jake on board. Jake did not want to move. Did not want to make that move. At final 12, I tried to make a move with Josh. I created a chat with like the majority of people. You were included to make a move on Josh or Chris. No one wanted. Everyone was like, no, the vote is still on X. So I feel like one thing that I could have done more is like really try to make you believe me that like the number were not there and we had to fight for our lives, because I really tried to put that fire on our group, like to put that fire on Bodhi, on Nick, and on you to like, hey guys, we are screwed. We need to make a move together. I've been telling you guys the entire day, and you all were just calling me a paranoid person. That like you're all telling me that Jake was lying to me and that we were fine, that X was going home. So I was like, okay, I think right now it's time for me to really position myself in the game, beside from this group that like doesn't really believe what I have to say. So I went and I was a part of a 6-person alliance that Kyle made. So I feel like that will really position myself well in the game, getting Bodhi out. Because the next round I was in the numbers and I knew exactly what was going on in the tribe. At the Nick vote, at your vote, we had distanced ourselves a lot since like I've been just making moves without telling you. So I felt like, okay, I want to keep her in the game because I think she's gonna keep me around longer, but I don't want to be vocal about it because I'm probably in trouble right now. There's people throwing out my name, so I think that even if Nikita goes home, I'm not going to be targeted next. So even though I want to keep her, I'm not going to be vocal about it because like if she stays in the game or if she leaves, I don't think it's really going to affect my game at all. But I did push for Chris to go home that round, but it eventually did not happen because people were just so focused on getting you out. At the Nick vote, I was blindsided. I thought Chris was going home until like last minute that like Jake messaged me during tribal like, oh, X just told me that he's voting for Nick. Like I was really blindsided. I really thought we were going to have the numbers to get Chris out. And at the Jake vote, there was like everyone was so sad on Jake, and I even told him like, okay, Jake, I'm willing to go to rocks for you. I was in a Halifax. I was like really trying to make X go to rocks with me, just to try to make a move, people happening. But like, just like Jake kind of like said, there's nothing I can do. There was also nothing I could do for Jake. And even I realized like with Jake going home, I think everyone in the game will want to take me to the end. So like even Jake going home right now, I'm losing my closest ally. It's not gonna be that bad for my game. But even though I was willing to truly draw rocks at final 6, I was like, okay, he's going home, and if by him going home, I'm going to position myself well to the game.
Alrighty. Well, great to hear from you again. Congratulations. And look at you. Amazing. Short sleeves. Who knew? Okay, let me slide over so I can see you. Hello, X. It's me. Nice to meet you again. Okay. So we definitely had a checkered past in this game. And, you know, there's only so much we can do. It's que sera, sera. And do I feel like you have the strategic chops? I do. Do I think you have the physical chops to be the winner? I do. And Josh kind of hit on it. But what I feel like I'm missing from you is, we'll put a hyphen in it, socialite-ness. And let me tell you why. Throughout the game, I do feel like you kind of had a very sharp way of, you know, making your decisions. You know, you, I would say, is a little bit of the opposite of Pietro. You were not afraid to do something that you felt was good for your game. And looking at it, like hearing your story, I do agree that you did what you had to do. And I lived for it. Like on paper, I do think that you did a very bang up job. And in terms of social game, I can excuse someone who I feel like tried to be social and then kind of just, it fell through. I can oversee that. But what I feel like you had a little bit more doing was that I felt like you did not care how you came across to other people. And especially towards where I'm going, I mean, start over, especially more towards my elimination. I mean, it wasn't necessarily to me, but just to look in the group chat and be like, oh my God, my bad social game. It's so funny how bad my social game is. And in my mind, that registered as like, he just doesn't care. You know, he's just open about like how he doesn't want to be social with people. And some of the other juror members said that that could have been a ploy to minimize the target on your back. And do I think that worked? Yes. But do I also think that that showed, at least translated to me, like you just didn't care about how you came across to other people or that aspect of the game? I thought that a little bit as well. And especially because I'm a huge believer in the triad of physical, strategic, and social, I do think the other two tried their best to encompass all three. And my issue is that if I feel like if I vote for you, am I voting for someone that just was like, I'm just going to push off one edge of the triangle and keep these two? Because them juggling all three is a little bit more impressive. So my official question to you is, was social
Thank you for the question, Nikita. Always good to hear from you. Social game was important to me. I really did want to try and play a social game this season. I don't normally rely on social game But this season, I did not have immunity a large part of the game. I did have to talk with people. And I felt that I did just that for the game. But I do agree in some sense I probably missed out the personal effect with me actually getting to know people as not just as they're leaving, but as a whole. But examples to prove that I did care about social game, one being right after I was basically blindsided by the Logan vote, was I as much as y'all didn't seem to be calm and collected, I did try and figure out what was happening, but I did take a step back. I genuinely put myself out there for people like Jake and Pietro, who were also being heavily targeted in this game. That was a huge, huge part of my game, and it propelled me to making past way many tribal councils, and it helped me survive when I was being targeted. Another way I proved I had social game was I constantly was one of the middle voters, and it wasn't just how it happened. I meant for that to happen. As much as I know he's on jury, me and Caleb pushed for that to happen. We made sure that we got to decide who was going home time and time again. It sucks because we did, especially me, had to send people off in a bad manner. But I was socially setting myself up time and time again that I had a plan B if I lost the meeting. Did I want to rely on physical comps? Of course, I wanted to be safe all the time, but I couldn't. I had to continuously talk with people, plan things out. And yeah, did I set it up to where people left feeling angry at me and blindsided? Yes, and that's something I'm never going to be good at. I'm never going to be good at sending people off in a good manner. I did not ignore social game. I tried to talk to everyone this game, and I tried to make sure that we both benefited from a move. Of course, I was looking out for myself. This is at the end of a solo game, but I wasn't just ignoring people for the sake of just ignoring them because fuck social game. I care about social game. I care about meeting with everyone. The only person I didn't have an actual good conversation or was not aligned with at any point in this game was Josh C. Not the one at pre-merge, but obviously the one that slayed me right earlier before we left. That was the only person I feel I was not working with at any point in this game. I was working with everybody else. I was set because people either believed that they had my vote, they believed that they trusted me, or they truly believed that I was not a threat. I am a threat, but I had to decrease that. And it was a ploy to tell people, oh, my social game's bad. Do I think my social game for a jury standpoint is great? No, I'm not good at that. But my social game inside the game proved itself time and time again. You came after me after I attempted to go after you. You failed. Many others failed too. I think for the in-game process that my social game did provide targeted after Final 11 until Final 4. I think that if that's not a big enough example, I don't know what is, because I didn't get votes, and when people did consider throwing my name out, it went sideways, and I made sure of that. I do think social games are important, and I wish I could be perfect at it. I really do. It's always going to be my weak point, but I don't think it was a major weak point this time. I do think I proved time and time again that I had the chops to be social, talk with people, and make sure I was in a good position. Did I have to backstab a couple people on my way here? Of course I did, but I did that for the game itself. Thank you for your question again, Nikita, and I hope that at least answered what you were looking for.
You did. Although I have a half question after that, because nobody else in the jury, it's not going to decide if it has no bearing on whether I vote, but like I was trying to piece it together. Nobody else in the jury seemed to know about it. Did you actually ever have an idol?
I did not have an idol. I lied about the idol because I was hoping that in this game people would be a little worried to vote me if they thought I had something. People I was very honest about that was Caleb and Billy. They knew I didn't have an idol. I mean, told them after I had told you that I had an idol and emphasized it with Bodhi that I had an idol, I instantly told my allies, I don't have an idol, but hopefully these people believe it. And I think whether they believed it or not, I think in that scenario, people were at least concerned. But I don't think it made me more of a target. I think it in a sense helped me. It was a lie I had to tell in this game, but obviously people I was closely working with knew. So no, I never had an idol, sadly. But I'm glad I didn't, because I didn't want to rely on one at any point in this game. I was able to make moves for my game without having to need advantages of any kind. But no, I never had an idol with Nikita.
Mess. Oh, well, the three of you, it's the end of the road. No matter what happens phenomenal, and you should all be exceptionally proud of yourselves. No matter what the jury decides, we all are proud of you. We really are, despite if we fight in the parking lot after. Good luck, you guys. And remember, if I can say one thing, ding!
Okay.
All right, good luck, you all. Good luck.
Thank you, Nikita. Up next, we have
Hi, everybody. I really haven't been able to say too much since I've been out of the game for a really long time, but I hate on merging. But anyway, that's not the point of this. I'm glad that the three of you made it. We all had some sort of conversations, some sort of game or life-related things, and I'm actually here to test you guys on that today. I have a question for all of the three of you, and it's going to stay the same. I want you to go through every single member of the jury and say something that you learned about them personally that has nothing to do with the game, that you learned only in this game. That's my question. Whoever wants to start can start.
With Logan, I learned that he has a cat named Scar, I believe. With Brody, I learned, I guess it's about the game, but all games kind of do it. Both of us kind of talked about how shitty hosts are that use touchy subjects as a competition because it's a weak attempt at drama. With Josh, we talked about how crappy it was when Tumblr started banning porn. With Billy, you were honestly, I think you were one of the people that I didn't talk too much about life with and talked more about games. So I really don't have much about your life with you. With Nikita, I didn't learn anything new about Nikita, one of my closest friends. I didn't learn anything new. With Nick, I learned that I learned that he has a it's not really not this game related, but I honestly probably ain't even question related, but I remember with Nick, the first message I went to send him, I looked at the message above and it was something like, "You're gonna regret betraying me," and I was just like, and with Jake, Jake is also a fellow soccer player. He plays right midfield. I play, and with Chris, I learned at wigs as shirts as wigs. There we go. I've never talked to Chris before this game, like on call, so I never got to really see his personality. So, do you want me to include the other final two?
If you want,
Or,
that's up to you. If you want.
nah, I don't like any of them. So.
Wait, did you say something about me?
Oh shit. With Caleb, I learned that he seems to really love hoodies because every time I saw him in call, it was a hoodie, a fuckboy hoodie. That's what I learned about him.
I guess I'll go second. I'll start with where I see you guys so I don't forget anyone. I guess I'll start with Jake. Aside from knowing that he Ubers, at least I think that was the word is, I didn't learn much from Jake, if that even is, because a lot of the things we did in this game when we talked the game, I don't think we ever talked personally about each other ever. I don't think that we needed to because we still pulled a lot of things off, but that's just on both ends. I see Jay next. I know he's a finalist, but I'll talk about Jay. Other than him being a cashier and his love for cats, which I respect because I also have 15 of them, I think that was kind of a cool thing about him. And that he, I guess, broke his glasses right after quarantine, which I learned that today. That was an interesting fact. Next is Nick. This is a hard one. He's another person I don't think either of us talked about our personal lives. Honestly, we did talk a lot of game. It was very game focused with us. But other than him injuring himself on his thumb, I didn't learn anything about Nick. Also, that was an interesting fact. He even sent me a picture, which was thankful. That was all for Nick though. Logan, me and Logan have a long history. I know so much about Logan. I'll never learn anything new about Logan because we're Facebook friends. You know, I've played a lot with Logan. He's always telling me about our cats. I'm always telling about him. He's always telling me about his family. So I know a lot about Logan. I was never going to learn anything new from him, but we also literally had one conversation before he was voted out. Caleb, my final, well, not my final two, but you know, my ride or die, innocent. Caleb and me talked constantly. He learned a lot about me. I learned a lot about him. I learned that he has some sisters. I learned that he loves to drink, which was not news, but you know, he must drink a little more than I had anticipated. You know, I learned a lot about, you know, what type of man he liked, but other than that, I didn't learn much from Caleb. You know, as much as we talked a lot to each other constantly throughout the game, I think we were both stressing about said thing. Chris, Chris did not tell me much about himself, but I did, from my understanding, I learned that there's a lot more to Chris than at face value. I've always thought Chris was someone that was, you know, gonna tell you straight to your face, and that was it. There was no more. He's very sweet. You know, he can turn off he can separate his life and the game, but again, he's not someone I talked personally with. Not a lot of people wanted to know much about me in this game, and vice versa, and it's not a lack from that. Pietro, I did not learn again anything. It was just a lot of games with a lot of people. Billy, only thing I learned about you was I think your girlfriend's name's Aubrey, and that you work at a gas station. I knew neither of those, but I don't think those are really interesting facts, other than obviously your girlfriend's name, which is interesting. Bodie, I learned that you have a love for music, that you're quite good at it, and that one of the things you told me is you couldn't always talk because you're at home, which was fine. I understand that. But other than your love for music, I did not learn anything about you. For Nikita, Nikita, I love your personality. I really do. But we've never talked. I've talked more about myself probably to you than you've talked about yourself to me. You know where I'm from, you know my siblings, you know part of me, but in all my time talking to you, I don't think you've come to me and expressed like how your social life is, what your dreams and focuses are. Other than I know your love for you're another one like Bodie that loves music, and we talked a lot about Matt Finger throughout this game, which was amazing. But you've never told me anything about yourself. So other than that, I don't have anything. Jerry, I know that's not a lot at all, but I am, for most of the time, people talking with me, I talking with them. If they said anything about their lives, I would try and memorize that. But outside of that, that's all I have.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the order of the boot list. Logan, his cat's car really disturbed him in that music video challenge because he complained about that a lot. We also talked about a lot, like it was not personal thing, but we talked a lot about his older Tangaged games that he played. He played like a lot of group games in Tangaged, and we talked a lot about that. Bodhi, I know he canceled school. Like I was talking to him how much homework I had, and he was just telling me like, oh, I canceled school, so I have nothing to do. And besides that, we talked a lot of games, so I don't know him much personally. Josh, I never really talked to Josh that much. Billy, you work at a gas station and you love playing Xbox. Kyle was someone that he works, and I don't know nothing else about him that much, but he was someone who I only talked game, and thankfully I talked a lot of game to him at the merge. That's the only time we met. Then Nikita, who's also someone that we only talked a lot about Brazil and how Big Brother Brazil works, and most of our talks were about Brazil. And yeah, I think I talked a lot about myself to her, and not really talked about myself, but we talked a lot of game only. Next is Nick. Okay, Nick, he's going to college right now. He loves drinking wine by himself with his mom. Um, what else? He loves watching Sequester during our calls. That's something his hobby to do. And yeah, like I just love Nick as a person. And I just really hope he does well at college that he's going right now. And Jake, Jake loves to pass out in bathtubs. He loves not respecting the quarantine and going out with his friends at parties. Um, what else about Jake? He loves playing volleyball. He's at college. And yeah, he's a crazy. He told me to take up in the ass a lot of times this season, but I moved on. Caleb, he's someone who really loves his sister and really loves when his sister comes home. It's really party for him and really enjoys that. And that's something that we both connected because I've got a sister too, and my sister is just traveling all the time. She works out a lot, and she's here too. So I've been busy the past few days with my sister too. With Chris, I only got to know Chris at Final 5, and thankfully I got to know him in this game because he showed to be a really respectable person. He showed to have like a really good heart and a lot of respect for this game. So I'm glad I got to meet him. Yeah, did I miss anyone? Yeah, I think I'm done.
All right, thank you for answering the question. I feel as though one person answered it a little bit better than the both of the other two, but that's not reflective. I want to hear the rest of these answers. I'm still undecided. I just want to thank all three of you for playing. I'm glad I was able to build the relationships with all of you.
Okay, thank you, Billy. Next up is Bodhi.
Be gone. Oh no, somebody disappeared. I don't know who it was. Can you guys hear me? Do I sound good?
You sound good, yeah.
Okay, I was waiting for one of the final three to give me a really positive response so I could base my vote on that. So yeah, from the moment that I was voted out, the three of you are at the bottom of my list in terms of who I was rooting for, in an order that kept changing, but none of you were somebody that I was thrilled about after leaving the game. As we've gotten later into the game, I have gotten over a lot of negative feelings that I would have had towards any of you. That being said, I do think that you are the most underwhelming possible final three. I think that the three of you deserve it because I think everybody else who made the final 8 was kind of dumb for letting the three of you get here, because I don't know why anybody could think that they could get to the end when you three were in the game, being the obvious 3 smallest jury threats, I think. But I don't know. That's not on any of you. That's a testament to how you played, or a negative to how they played, but it doesn't matter because I have to choose between the three of you and I can't vote against any of these jurors. So the first note that I've taken from these things is on that question about who you would vote for out of the other two. Actually, no, I'm gonna do that after my real question, which is I want to go through each of the jurors, and so work is you're all going to have your eyes closed, and then I'm going to say the names of hand. So we're going to see what your perceptions of the jury actually are, and if you have a decent read at all. So yeah, if the three of you could close your eyes.
I like this question.
Thank you. I made it up myself. Yeah. So yeah, cover your eyes with your hand, ideally. Logan, that's you. The echo. All right, so we're going to start with Logan. If you think that you're getting Logan's vote, raise your hand. All right, then we're going to move to me. If you think that you're getting my vote, raise your hand. All right, now Josh. If you think you're getting Josh's vote, raise your hand. If you think you're getting Billy's vote, raise your hand. If you think you're getting Kyle's vote, raise your hand. If you think you're getting, was Nikita out next? Raise your hand. If you think you're getting Nick, raise your hand. If you think you're getting Jake, raise your hand. If you think you're getting, I'm struggling. Who's next?
I didn't realize I was that forgetful, but it's me.
I wasn't. Did Jake get 6th?
Yes.
Oh, crazy. I thought you got 7th. Okay, that's why I was confused. I knew that you got 5th, and I was trying to figure out who the one between was. If you think you're getting Caleb's vote, raise your hand. And if you think you're getting Chris's vote, raise your hand. Did anybody take a tally of what the vote totals were?
Not enough to actually determine a winner.
Okay.
I did mentally. I can put it in the chat. You
Yeah,
report
put
the
it-
jury chat, Miss Thing.
Yeah, put it in the jury chat. I'm kind of.
Yeah, I think that none of you thought that you have the majority of the votes, which, so I guess we don't have a winner, season over. Yeah, so I think that, yeah, your reads, I don't know, I'll let them speak for themselves. I think there was one that was conflicting, right? 2 people thought that they had somebody's vote.
It was.
Who was it?
Nikita.
Yeah, I think it's Nikita.
And who raised their hands?
I think it was J and X.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know, how many votes did you each give yourselves? Let's start with you, Jay. How many votes did you give yourself?
I think I did 2.
Okay, so why are you losing? Why are you only getting 2 jury votes?
I do feel like the fact that I was at work, I think a lot of people have this misconception that just because I was at work, I wasn't really planning, even though, during breaks, during lunches, I even went on call in the bathroom with Chris, Josh, and I think it was just Chris and Josh at that one. So that's why I think that people would probably not vote for me.
All right. And I think you're probably right about that. I think that is why you're going to lose. X, I could, sorry, Jay, I'm definitely still considering you. I just thought that was, I thought that was a good line. X, how many votes did you give yourself?
A max of 5.
Okay. Oh, so you did give yourself the majority.
I gave myself the people I thought I had a chance at.
Okay.
I'm very aware that I probably don't have Jake, Chris, Nick. I'm very aware I probably don't, just because of people they're close to, that they actually feel bonds with, and because I think outside of that, probably the way I actually connected with them, I don't believe I connected with Josh on a level at all, which has been very clearly stated. Nick, I think he probably isn't a fan of me, and he's also obviously closer with Pietro. Jake is very close with Pietro. There's just no denying that. Chris is very close with Jay. But outside of that, I think everyone else I have a chance at. Does that mean I'm getting there? No. But that was my reasoning for saying no.
Okay. And Pietro, how many votes did you give yourself?
I give myself 2 votes.
Okay. So why do you think you're losing?
I think I'm probably gonna lose because I didn't make really vocal, flashy, game-changing moves. I played a more solid and under the radar game, and I feel like people who want to award someone who have been like really more exposed as myself. I feel like some of my moves are not really respected, and not really people didn't realize I was actually thinking for doing those moves.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that to go back to the first question that I was going to ask, in the question where you were asked who of the other 2 you would vote for, X got 2 of your votes, which I think that Jay made a mistake by voting X, because I think that I can't really justify voting for Jay if he doesn't think that Pietro would have played the second best game if he played the first best game. I think that if we say that Jay's game is good, then we have to say that Pietro's game is good. So I don't know. Jay, do you see it differently? Because I feel like your game is very similar to Pietro's, except from a different angle, while X's game stands apart from both of yours, not necessarily in a way that's better, but in a way that's different. So I think that by saying that you would vote for X over Pietro, you're saying that you wouldn't vote for yourself.
But Pietro also said he would vote for X over me.
Yeah.
So.
But I think that Pietro played a game that was between the 2 of you, and I think that he could have chosen either way.
Okay.
do you have like an explanation for why you can say that X played better than Pietro, but you played better than both of them?
Well, like, obviously, I'm going to think I played better because I
Yeah.
know, like, you know, it's my perception, whatever. So I don't really think I have anything more
Okay.
to add at this point.
Okay, and I think I had one other note. Yeah, it doesn't really need to be said. I think that it goes without saying that I don't think anybody believed that X had the idol. Okay, I'm done. Whoever wins deserves it. I'm gonna say that, even though I'm not thrilled that the three of you played the best game, or one of the three of you played the best game you did. I wish it was somebody else, but it wasn't. Whoever wins deserves it.
Can I vote for Nick's dog?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Bodhi. Next up is Caleb.
Hello. So I didn't really have anything prepared. I'm just kind of going off what people have been saying. And I don't really think I have any questions. I mean, it's pretty obvious. My mind's been made up from the get-go. If it's not me, I'm glad it's somebody else sitting here tonight. Jay, you said multiple times this game that you were just voting on people were telling you to. And I do personally believe that you are here more because people dragged you here than anything you did. Pietro, you have said multiple times tonight that you try to bring up plans and names to Jake, and he would always shut them down. It seems to me that your best ally was also probably your biggest downfall in this game. X, I stand by what I've said this whole time. I do think you've been playing a really good game. Maybe it's aggressive, maybe it was too aggressive. Maybe my viewpoint's a little twisted. I obviously got to see a different side of you that not all of these other jury members did. So hopefully you can explain and show them why you do deserve to win with the remainder of the questions. But I think Nikita brought up a good point earlier. We're voting for somebody who is going to represent this season. And I've said it all season, and I think a lot of us have felt it too. This season has been one of the craziest, most dramatic seasons, like, personally, that I've ever played in an org. And I think some of you guys feel the same way too. And I want to award somebody who I feel like embodies that. And also, again, we do have to think for, like, Winners at War, All-Stars, those type of things. Like, we want somebody to represent this season. I don't want to watch somebody sit there and do nothing, or somebody hide behind their ally. That's not something I really want to watch in an All-Stars game. So it's very obvious how my vote is going tonight. I do wish all of you the best of luck. Nothing is personal. I love every single one of you. Good luck, you guys.
Okay, thank you, Caleb. Next up, we have Jake.
Okay, hi guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Well, congrats to you three. You guys obviously did what the rest of us jury members are still fighting about, wishing we could have done. So that's a huge, big props to you guys. I don't really have a question. My jury vote's pretty much made up, and it's probably as obvious as my alliance to him was. So I'm just gonna sit here and have a little roast session with the three finalists because that's how I want to go out. So we're gonna start with Pietro. You always said Brazil was in crisis right now. Well, you know what else is in crisis? Your chances of winning this game. Also, you look a little pale right now. Is that because you stood in my shadow the whole game? X, I only really have one question to ask you. How does your ass feel after the can against the wall with your foot challenge? Because it must have been really hard to sit and do it for 26 minutes. Also, Jay, honestly, I'm just happy you got off work today so we can do this at a halfway decent time. If we were voting for an amazing employee award, you'd probably still lose to Chris. All in all, you guys are awesome. Congrats to the final three. This is an amazing season. Love you all.
That was savage, and I love it.
It's good.
Okay.
Julian, who's next? Can I go?
Next is, in fact, Nick.
So you can go
Perfect.
next.
I don't have a roast session because I don't think I'm that funny, but I have a general question that I want you all to answer, and if time permits, I'll have like a little individual question for you all, but none of them really require like an insane like paragraph. So this isn't sponsored by production, but the choice was like past and present, and two of you are veterans, flops, whatever you want to call each other. So there was a game to base your new game off of. So for Jay and Pietro, I would want to know what your old game kind of entailed, where you fell, where you had strengths, and how you either changed it or played the same, how you bettered it, where you went wrong again, something like that. For X, it's a little different for you. So I have like two ways you can answer it. You can even answer it a third way, like if you don't like my two ways. So one of them is you could take the first half of the game as your past and this is your present, where you changed once merge hit, all this kind of stuff. Or you can take it as this entire game is your first game. If you were to play again with the same cast, with a new cast, what would you want to change and what wouldn't you want to change? So any order, you guys can go. I don't mind.
I guess I'll go first since mine's separated.
That's good.
I would like to consider my pre-merge game my past because I think my pre-merge game's a way different game than my merge game. The pre-merge for me was sitting and waiting till it was time to strike. And that strike happened the second the swap happened, the second I was able to get the numbers against Josh. And I was able to position myself in a fairly amazing spot. And then once merge hit, I had the cocky, arrogant attitude of, oh, I'm going to run this. I have all these people I can probably work with. And anyone who was on that tribe probably heard me say, oh, all of us, and then we can pull these people. And I was very wrong about that. So I did have to change everything about my game. I know a lot of people probably are still like, oh, X never stepped back. He was very aggressive this game. But I did take a step back. I did not want to say names for the first two votes. I needed time to readjust myself into the game and actually build relationships with people, which for the second half of the game was really good for me. I went from everyone not trusting me to literally there being a chat that was against my gameplay to sitting in final three, having only been in danger at 11 and obviously 4. I don't believe in any point in this game that I was in danger aside from that. So in that sense, that's that. But I also kind of want to look at your other question where you said there was another option. How would I play this game different if it was the same cast? I would talk to everyone a lot more personally. I feel that I was so game set that I probably missed out on one part of this game that is important. As much as I do feel I enjoyed the cast as a whole, I feel I didn't learn enough about each of you personally. And that, if anything, I think would be my biggest downfall because people do want to feel like they were known as a person, not just a player in this game. So that's how I would do it differently. Moving forward, if it was a different cast, it's hard to say because you never know how a different cast is going to be. But I think I'd have the same approach that I did this. I'm viewed as a very aggressive player, someone who's willing to do whatever it takes. And that is true. But I also think being able to step back, shut up is best for not only me, but people who want to work with me, who don't want to hear me kind of overshadowing them. So that's how I would do it if it was a different cast.
Okay.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Jay, Pietro, whichever one of you wants to go next.
So Nick, you probably already know how crushing my past experience in Trinity was. I was awarded the best predator. I was in the top rankings for the entire season until I was voted out, and I was voted out with an idol in my pocket. So it was really heartbreaking to leave Trinity the first season I played, and I've been dreaming to have. It sucks when you hear people saying like, "Oh, you were running the show, you were playing an amazing game, but you got blindsided with an idol." So I was like, I really wanted to have like a chance of redemption and just show that like I can really make it to the end. And in my old game, I was a really sketchy player. I didn't make any friendships. I just lied to everyone. I just flipped and flopped. And that's why Jay was always targeting me. He was like, hey guys, you are missing something in Pietro because he's a liar. He's a sketchy player. So this time around, I wanted to play different. I wanted to play like a more solid game. I wanted to play like a more down-to-earth game and like make kind of more of logical moves instead of just flipping and flopping. And I did some stuff that I thought I was never going to be able to do. Like I made like deep social connections. I truly view you and Jake as true friends of mine. And I never thought I was going to be able to make friendships in group games, especially because I'm from such a different country. I always build myself as so different from all of you. I was like, I'm from a different culture. I just never going to be able to connect with these people. And I ended up giving a slap on my face. Like, I can really connect with people and I can really like these people and I can really like be heartbroken when they're voted out. That was something that I never thought I could. And I also think I was a way less aggressive player and a more rational player. My moves were really like logical. I was really trying to make myself safe in first place. I was always putting myself in first place, but always making sure that I was going to be safe the next round and nothing was going to blow up in my face. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Jay, you can close it out.
The last time I played, like Pietro mentioned, I was really bullheaded when I wanted someone out. I was not going to accept any other option. And this time I wanted to take a more just a more adaptable approach. If I had to wait, I would wait. I didn't want to be so zoned in on one person that I lose sight of everyone else. So for me, this time around, it was about, yes, do I think this person will beat me? But also I need to look at how the hell am I going to get to the end? So for me, it was about, instead of focusing just on one person, realizing that there are multiple people in the game.
Okay, thank you. I think all three of you showed a pretty decent cognizance of how your past should be fixed and everything, so that's good. I'll just try to go into these little individual ones just so I can get my thoughts out. My vote's pretty much locked. I don't think that's shock to anyone, but for the undecided jurors, if I was them, I would want to have as much clarity as I could for a vote. So I want to give the two people I'm not voting for a chance to also justify why they deserve a vote. So for X, first of all, this wasn't originally in, I wrote stuff down because I tend to over talk. So, but I added this in at the end when you made a different differentiation between socially strategic and like a jury social game. And I always say that you can play a really good social game inside the game, but you can be hated once everyone's voted out. So I do think decently inside the game, you were able to be socially strategic, not necessarily social. So I do commend you on that front. Jury-wise, I think you have the worst of all three of us, but not all three of us, all three of you three. But in your opening speech, you said you realized aggressive players got out early and had their games blew up, which I agree with. Brian was probably the biggest example, John, Nathan, all of them. So you stepped back. You keep saying you did step back, so I'm not going to ask you to rehash that or whatever, but in my opinion, all of pre-merge, you would make oodles of alliances. There's at least I feel 5 alliances, and by the third round with people in it that you were at the center of. 1 second.
Julian, this would be a good time to do a sponsorship.
Okay.
Earn that money, bud.
Okay, Nick, is that all for you then?
He's still.
Oh, sorry.
How's everyone's day today?
Pretty good.
You know. Can I continue off of what Nick was saying? Okay, I won't. There's a social game within the game and then the jury management one, and they're both social games, but having a social game that makes people want to vote for you is the important one. And while maneuvering yourself to the end is impressive, that's the strategic game, more so than the social game, even though it's both. Hi, Nick.
It's great. I have helicopter. Gonna continue this. Okay. So you had oodles of alliances, which isn't a bad thing, but I think that's aggressive. You're okay, so the first tribal, John leaves unanimous. Okay, that's no one's really decision. Everyone was a part of that. The second tribal you attended, you made a blindside immediately. You didn't wait. You completely cut Josh out. And then you had the open rivalry with Kyle, which maybe it wasn't a rivalry by the end of the season or whatever, but it was very present in the pre-merge. So I feel you were aggressive. And then I feel the merge game was just a different flavor of aggression. I don't know. But I'm not going to ask you to rehash that or whatever, because I feel you've done your best explaining why you think you stepped back. But my thing is, you said you and Caleb were always together the entire game. You put yourselves in the good spot and everything. I see kind of Caleb as like the angel and you as the devil. I think Caleb did really well at making people not dislike him. I think if Caleb was at the end, he'd be getting praised for everything you did and you'd be getting negatives for everything he did. So if I know you're saying that Caleb was the one you wanted out at 4, but let's say Caleb wins immunity, he's at the end now and now it's both of you. How do you differentiate your game from him? Like, how do you say, well, yeah, we played similar games, but I think I played better if he had such good social connections, was able to get blame off of him, etc. You can make this quick, you can make this long, whatever you want.
How I would separate my game from Caleb if he did make Final Four and win that immunity and was in with me, the first way I'd start was I kind of had more of the control pre-merge when the Josh vote happened. So it was kind of like a limb that he got lucky that I did want to flip on Josh. Without my flip on Josh, he was in danger. In terms of the merge, I gave him the connection to you, Pietro, and Jade. Y'all clearly did not, as a whole, trust him at all. That was very apparent. Y'all made sure to tell him that near the end, and also using that connection, it gave him that route to be safe with y'all, because I continuously tried telling you guys you can trust Caleb. He's a number for us, and he was for a good bit. So I kind of over-trenchelled that. I got lucky with the fact that Caleb balanced that out with the fact that he was good with Chris, that he was good with Billy and Kyle. But I think socially, I was out there doing a little, I was aggressive, yes, but I think socially, I made it very apparent on what I was doing, and I let Caleb know that. Me and Caleb did give and get, but I, for the majority of the time, did get until your vote, where I was not going to sit there and let Caleb ruin his game because he wanted you out as much as I did, so I did give at that point. But my game was extremely different from Caleb. I feel like I was out there pulling social bonds, giving him connections, and he did the same, but I feel like I did a little bit more in that sense, that I gave him the Pietro, you, and Jake route. Without that, I think that the move on Kyle would have been for naught, because it would have been pointless. I wouldn't have known that we would still be in a good position without Kyle. I would have had to bank on a rivalry that I had in this game that I had no good pass with to keep me safe in the game. But I didn't have to rely on that. I relied on the fact that I did spend 2 rounds after being completely ostracized from 11-person chat building bonds with you guys. And that in itself is what separates me from Caleb. Because even when I looked down, I brought myself back up. I adapted. I changed. So I think that's what separates me from Caleb.
Okay, good. I think that was a good answer. Tribal, I think you don't really have a lot of examples of adaptability, honestly, though. Your Chris Hinkie vote, yes, I think I will give you full credit for that. Jake, Pietro, probably anyone in the game that talked to me that round will attest for it. I was certain whoever voted Chris that round was going to pin it on me. So, like, that's a good adaptable move. You made a move where you had a fallback, a plan B, and everything. Other than that, I don't really see that, though. So for me, I feel like you stayed with your allies for most of the game. You made your enemies clear. Like every tribe would feel like you're like, my vote is for blank. And what was another solid example of your adaptability, where like you entered with a plan and then you completely changed it?
Every round, like there was 2 rounds in specific that I said, my vote is for X, my vote is for Pietro. Neither of those rounds did I vote for that person, because I realized, 1, I'm not going to have the votes for it, and 2, this might not be what's best. So what's the point in me putting myself in a vulnerable position and voting in the minority in the X's switch up in particular? With Chris, I was like, even if I vote in the minority, there's a way for me to work that as a good way. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, and even before that, like the people I was working with, yes, I was working with them, but in like middle merge before Kyle was eliminated, the people I was wanting to go to the end was with you and Kyle, because I did tell you, Nick, I wanted to work with you moving forward, and I was trying to get into Kyle's graces, but he got the cut before I could like get into fully detail.
Okay, thank you for that. Like I said, much respect, all kudos to that Chris vote. I think that was probably the
smartest move of all three of you that you could have made. I don't know if that's biased because it directly affected me the most, but I love a good hinky vote. Finally, Pietro, I agree you played an under the radar game. This is going to be completely biased, so I know our conversations. I know where your head was at for most rounds, and I knew the moves you wanted to make. Jake was pretty aggressive. He kind of like had his foot down for a lot. There was other people. I feel like you were in a position where if you wanted to make the move you wanted to make, you would basically have to jump ship to a side that was just going to get rid of you the very next round. So you're kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't state. So my one question to you is explain around you wanted the move to happen, why it couldn't have happened, and how you would have approached it happening. So like if there's one move where you could have complete control over a round at any point in this game, what would you have wanted it to be?
Well, at final 12, the Rumble we went home, as I said, I was so vocal about us needing to make a move on Josh or Chris. I created a chat with you, Nick, Nikita, Jay, Kyle, and Max. I was like, hey guys, we're the numbers. We can take the vote off me or Bodie. We can make a move on Josh. And the reason why I wanted to make a move on Josh was because like I had no connection to him, and I knew he was always going to come after me. So I felt like getting him out would not only take someone out who was not going to work with me, but it was also going to connect my group together because I had my relationship with Jake and I had my relationship with you, Bodie, Nick, and Nikita, and I wanted that group to be united so badly. And I was like, okay, this is going to be the move that we can just be like a strong team together. But Jake never wanted to work with those people. You all never wanted to work with Jake, so I was like, that was really complicated. So had this worked, I feel like we could have really run the game. Had you guys done what I was proposing, I feel like we would be like the ones, like it would be like probably three of us from that whole group would be like three of us sitting here. And I don't think we would have been targeted next round. And like anyways, like Josh was blindsided next round because, and thankfully he did. And yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I actually feel happier. I don't know if happier or if more content's the word about all three of your games after my questions and just how you've answered. I think you've all done a pretty decent job. My vote's still like 99.9% locked, but good luck to the other two. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nick. And last but certainly not least, we have Chris. Go ahead.
Hi, uglies. It's like, I'm just kidding. I love all of you. I have one question, but I'm gonna save it until after I not really drag, but just make a quick comments about what I heard this past hour and a half and what I just feel as though important that I need to say. X, probably the biggest thing that is turning me off from your game is the fact that, granted, no, you didn't win immunities, but trust when I tell you that, granted, nobody wrote down your name from final 11 to final 4. Your name was still out there. So I don't really, not really appreciate, but I don't really like how we talked about you being quote unquote cocky at top 13 and you thinking that you had like this very perfect game and Logan goes home. I'm still seeing that sort of behavior from the time that you could have gotten votes but didn't. Response, I just wanted to let you know. Pietro, I'm still having a very hard time differentiating your game from Jake. And that's not you, that's just my feelings personally. Jay, how does my shadow taste? I'm just kidding. But the only question that I have for each of you guys, and again, my vote is 100% locked. That's not going to be changing, but I just want to hear your answers from this. And is after such a rigorous game that we all signed up to be a part of and we all played, have you grown any? Is there any growth as a person, as a game player in a normal general life? Is there some sort of growth after playing this game? And whoever wants to go first, whoever wants to go last, you can, but is there any sort of growth at all?
Well, I definitely feel like I've grown a lot in this game. Not only I think my English has improved a lot because a lot of you were in calls me, they're teaching me like, hey, you're saying this word wrong. But also I learned that I have way more confidence in myself right now than I used to have. I think everyone in the game really underestimated myself, but I also underestimated myself. I never thought I was going to be able to do that. I never thought I was going to be able to connect with people. I came to this game feeling like, why did I came back? I'm gonna be the first dude. I'm gonna just like screw my reputation with like best pre-merger from my old game. I really had no confidence in myself. So I'm walking away from it, like realizing that like I can do it. Like I can do whatever I want if I really put myself into it. Like I can win endurance challenges, I can win lucky challenges. That's something that I've never done before. I can destroy my wall for a challenge in a group game and be okay with it. Like I destroyed my freaking wall with that can't. And I also can make friendships. I never thought I was going to be able to make friendships in this game. I never thought I was going to be able to make friendships with people that speak other language than I do. And yeah, I'm just really happy with the experience in itself, and I'm just really happy. Oh, buddy, with my wall, I was holding the cans so much that like there's just marks of cans all over my wall. And yeah, I'm just walking away really glad with everything that happened, and really glad with like the game I played. Really glad of how I reacted to things, and really glad of the friendship that I made. And that's it.
It's beautiful. Who wants to go next? Feel free.
For me, I feel like I've grown in the sense that like I normally always am strictly loyal to like my friends and my allies. And for me, whenever Julian asked me to come back, I told myself that like this last time I played, I told Julian straight up, I'm never playing a game you're hosting again, because I just consecutively been getting worse at it. And this time when I decided to, make myself look like a clown and come back, I was like, I really want to put my emotional side to the side and make moves that I think could strategically help me moving forward in the game. And for me, like, I never thought in the past of doing a hinky vote. Like last season, I never would have cut Connor at the end if I made it that far with him. For me, my growth has been uh, putting my emotions to the side and understanding that if these people are my friends, they will understand what I'm doing and get over it. And then also, like, before this season, the best time I've done in an endurance challenge is like 3 minutes. And like I'm being told, like, Josh threw the immunity challenge because he knew you weren't beating X. And now, I managed to make it an hour with Pietro. So for me, I just felt really good about that.
These beautiful ass answers. Oh my god. Okay.
Chris,
I
no more
wish-
crying out of you.
I wish I could have a beautiful answer like Pietro and Jay, but I don't. I generally don't. I feel I entered this game the same person I'm gonna be leaving this game. I still had the same mindset. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I truly believe that I don't think I had growth as a person. So there's no reason for me to pretend like I did. But I will say I quite enjoyed the fact that I had someone in this game I could be vulnerable with. I could make mistakes. I could say whatever. And they did not judge me. That was Caleb for me. I quite enjoyed that. And I'm going to take that way past this game. And I generally consider him a lifelong friend. But as personal growth, other than being vulnerable with that one person, I don't think I changed at all. I will admit I, as usual, failed to acknowledge that the personal side of getting to know every single one of you as much as I possibly could have. But that's my fault. That's my fault. And I hope after this game is ended today that I do get to genuinely know all of you. But I'm not going to pretend like I had growth in that scenario. So I know it's not what you probably want to hear, but I'm being honest. I came into this game the same person I'm leaving. As much as I felt I had friends leaving this game, that doesn't conclude that I had growth. It just means I met new people. So
And it's not so much what I wanted to hear, it's what the honest truth was from each of you guys' mouth, and for that I'm okay with. I know I really am supposed to not ask that a question, but I just want to in this sense, because I think this is what the jury after I asked my first question is harping on. Did you guys learn anything? after playing this game? Anything new? And not so much learning about other juror members from what was asked previously. Anything at all? Gameplay, yourself, normal general life. Did you learn anything differently that you thought you knew before coming into this game? Anything different at all?
Like I said, I learned the value of a hinky vote. To play a game while working. I've learned not to go into the bathroom and go on call when my boss walks in. So I've learned a few things, yeah.
I learned that I should allow people to get to know who I really am way more, because the people that I was really myself, they love me apparently, and they do love them too. So I feel like I love myself even more, and I feel like I should really show others who I really am, and that's something that I feel like was going to change with me.
It's not so much I learned. I knew in real life I'm quite awkward. I don't go out of my way to meet people. But what I learned about myself this game is that I rather, instead of put myself out there, would rather focus on something that is the main goal, which was the game. And for me, I felt if I just focused on that, I wouldn't have to, tell everyone every little thing about me, and I wouldn't have to risk getting judged. And it's not a bad thing, but I generally focus more on that than putting myself out there. But what I learned from this game is that I know how to talk with anyone about anything, and no matter it relevance or not, I quite enjoyed each of your company. And whether you enjoyed mine or not, I do hope, like I said earlier, that after this is over, I can get to know y'all way more. But in terms of a learning level, I just learned the same thing I already knew about myself, which is my fear. Talking to people personally, I'm not like that in real life. Y'all may have seen me be aggressive this game, but in real life, I stay to myself. I do not go out of my way to party like Jake did. I don't go out of my way to, be on a call and talk with everybody. I just don't. That's not me. So there's two sides of me, and I feel like y'all didn't get to see the true side of me. Y'all just got to meet X, the person that plays games. Y'all didn't get to truly meet Brian, me. So that's what I learned in this game.
Alrighty, nothing more, nothing less. Julian, take us home, baby. Thank you, guys.
All right, now before we get into closing statements, I did receive one more question from Kyle that he wants answered, and it is directed to Jay and Pietro both. He wants to know, what is the story of you guys' rivalry, and how the hell did you two make Final Tribal together?
So our first season, me and Pietro made an alliance together after I was already in a 4-person alliance and had already told them that, Pietro needs to go.
I gave Jay an idol clue, and he told everyone I had an idol. So he threw me under the bus. And
he sent me the link to the idol board, which was basically the clue. And I told people, I said, there's no way he's sending me this link unless he already has the idol. So he has to go.
Yeah, I already had the idol, but we swept the tribes, and I convinced everyone that Jay had the idol, and he was trying to make others believe I had it. So everyone got him out thinking he had the idol.
So then this season, when we merged, I'm told, Pietro made a chat with all of the tribe. And when somebody said, hey, who do you we can get to flip, Pietro apparently made a comment saying like, oh, Jay tends to be more loyal to people early on in the game, so I don't think we can get him. So for me, I was like, oh, well, I guess it's time to reignite this.
And yeah, I was always getting told that by everyone's like, hey, Jay's gunning for you, especially at the round that it was between me and Bodhi. Everyone's telling me like, okay, Jay's really pushing to be you over Bodhi because he's telling everyone that you're a sketchy player and everything. And I feel like it took us to Final 5 to actually talk to each other.
I mean, we talked a little before then, but there was the round that we were like, look,
Like
we
were all,
have
like,
to work
super scared.
together now. So like,
Yeah, we were just like never giving information. We were just like really hiding information from each other and just feeling really selfish about the other. But at final five, we were like, oh, let's move on. Let's work together.
Okay. Thank you, guys. So with that, we are going to get into closing speeches, and they are going to be in reverse order that we started in. So, X.
Well, y'all, we're finally at closing statements. You know, in this game, I know I was aggressive. I was talking arrogant when I probably shouldn't have been, but I truly do believe that I represent not only the cast, but the season theme, which was past and present. I believe that my past was everything I overcame. I know I was a target more than just me getting votes, but I was able to adapt and change that up so that way other people were targeted, not me. I know that that is selfish, but I had to make sure that I was safe at the end of the day. My present is the fact that I'm a rookie, that I'm new to this game. I didn't have anything to base my current game off of. I had to go in this with a new game mindset and trying to get through this game the best I could. And I truly believe I did that. I may have been aggressive and I may have blindsided a lot of you, and you might take that as I didn't get to genuinely know you or that I just didn't care about social game. I was just here to backstab whoever got me to the end. But I genuinely set myself up each and every round to be safe and to be in a good aggressive in the terms that I wasn't afraid to go after someone. I do believe that I put myself out there and risked my game by saying a name when the people beside me may not have always met. I was not afraid. And y'all talk a lot about who would you want to represent the season? Who do you think could go into an all-star season and not be afraid to just lay down? I believe that's me. I've never been afraid to make a move. Yeah, I had to step back, and y'all may not have still, but I'm going to stab whoever I need to. It's not meaning I don't like y'all, but it was a game, and that's how I played it. With that said, I'm glad that I got to play this game. I'm glad I got to make Final Three. And no matter who you vote tonight, I hope that at the end of the day, y'all did get to see that I did a lot more in this game. I wasn't behind Caleb. I was making my own decisions. I was out there being social. Was it perfect? No, I'm never going to be that. But I do believe that I played a large part in this season. And yeah, I was a lesser of many of y'all's options to win this game, but I still made it here and I overcame a lot. So thank you guys, and no matter what, good luck.
Pietro?
Okay, so finishing this, I just want to say, like, I'm just super happy to have played with each and every single one of you. When I said yes to coming back, I knew I was like, I should say no, because when I play, I really invest myself, and I really should not be like, become so exhausted over a game like that. But I said yes, and I really gave my heart out to this game. Y'all can say like, oh, you were in Jake's shadow, but like, I don't think I was. Like, I really wasn't. At the Josh vote, Jake was really vocal about like wanting to keep Josh, and I was like, no, Josh needs to go, and Josh went home. Like, I convinced him to do what I wanted to do. The alliance of Jake and Nick were created because of me. Like, we made a final three alliance together because I was really close to Jake and I was really close to Nick. So I just was like, I need to put these three together because I know that like in case I make final three with them and it is a final two, I know that both of them will take me instead of each other. So I was really loyal to that group, and I really made that group become to life. And I really wish it was us three in here because I really fought for that. But yeah, I gave my heart out. I proved that I was willing to make moves. I was willing to draw rocks. I was willing to flip to keep my friends safe. So yeah, I don't have any regrets to this game. I feel like I didn't play really aggressive and really vocal, but I was playing. I was making moves and I was being strategically all the time. And I always knew that it was going to go to the direction that it was not going to affect my game, and I still was going to be in top of no matter the situation was. Even when my name was coming up, I was a target at Final 12, and I ended up being like one of the swing votes between Jake and Bodie. So like, and at the next round, I was not targeted at all. I was in a really good position the next round, even though everyone was throwing my name around the past round. So I do feel like I adapted myself to situations. I adapted myself to when I saw like, okay, this alliance is not working anymore. I need to adapt my game to make myself be in a good position. So I do feel like I played a good game. I do feel like I realized it when I was in trouble, when I realized that I needed to change my game in order to be in a good spot. And I feel like I did that. So that's why I think I deserve to win.
All right, Jay, take us home.
Well, it's been a fun time, guys. It's truly been a blast. Haven't made one of these since like the first time I played an org, so it's definitely been fun no matter what the outcome is. I do think I do deserve to win, even if I was working a full-time schedule. I still managed to keep myself in the game with no votes casted against me. I wasn't just like, I feel like a lot of people think the alliance with Chris was like a one-way thing. I feel like Chris didn't just simply come on call with me and tell me what to do. We bounced ideas back with each other. We talked about fantasies and realistic things that we would want to happen. So I do think people don't think that. I do think that I do deserve to win this game.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. It's been a fun season. We've had a fun time here. And now it's time to let the jurors make their decisions. One at a time, we will send you guys to a breakout room with production. And you will cast your vote for a winner.
Can we make like can I say like one last thing before we all go?
Sure.
Okay. Pretend it's just the four of us. I want
Which
you
four?
three to know. The finalists and me,
Okay.
the dream top four. But just for the three of you, I have listened and I've heard everyone say that Pietro, you and Caleb, Jay, you were hiding behind Chris. As someone who was not a part of any of those factions, I feel like I can just say anyone who's saying that is making the decision because in their mind, they thought they were the front runners controlling you guys. And the fact that you pushed past your partner and made it here blows their mind, and they can't get over their own hubris that, wow, this person I counted out beat me. Oh, they were in my shadow. No, you three did it. You three slayed. And I don't want to, if I catch any of you three thinking like, I was a partner, I will come to your house. I will say, stop that. And then we're going to go get Denny's. Okay. So just before we crown a winner, know that. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. All three of you were hiding behind the entire jury, and that's how you got to the end, and that's impressive, and that's how Survivor works. Congratulations.
We'll talk at the reunion.
All right, folks. So I'm going to send you guys there in the order in which you became jurors. Logan is not here, but he has sent his vote in. Bodhi, that means you're up first.
So cool. I'm going to press join breakout room.
Yes, sir.
Me not voting until I get to the breakout room is so good.
I love breakout rooms. I loved that. That was a great addition.
Can I take the finalists to a break and ask you?
Can you what?
No.
Oh, oh my goodness.
I'm assuming Kyle is not able to speak still, but I have his vote already, so.
That's a mess. Was he even on call when he asked his air quote question?
Yeah. He sent it in. He sent it to me privately in the Zoom chat.
After his last question?
The one about Jay and Pietro?
Yeah.
Yep, he sent that to me privately in the Zoom.
Okay. At least he was listening then.
I wonder if I hit stop recording between like you guys all voting and
I just got cast for All Stars.
Nice.
Oh.
Lucky.
Not a Survivor, right? What show was it?
Billy, you're up next.
Good luck, everyone.
It's an astrology show.
Ooh.
So if I hit stop after getting all of the votes and then hit start again, it'll save as 2 separate Zoom files, correct? I
Yes.
believe that's the case. Okay.
It won't
Why?
reopen the first video, and yeah. Once you seal the box with tape, you seal the box with tape.
Yeah, when are we doing
So
vote reveal?
Right away. So if I hit stop and then start, it'll save as 2 separate Zooms.
Yes.
Okay, good, because I want those as 2 different videos on YouTube.
What do you mean? This dead air is suspenseful.
Oh no, it's still recording right now.
Oh.
A lot of dead air.
I just can't believe it's gonna be done. Like, what if we never see each other again?
I think that's very likely.
Girl, don't lie. Half of us
Right.
won't catch each other in like 3
I already have Kyle's vote, so next is Nikita.
All right, be right back.
I don't actually keep in touch with casts. I do speak in the reunion several years later.
Is
But
reunion?
one reunion
as
that's
well?
3 years old, still speak in it.
You'll be in the alumni chat, you'll be in the viewers lounge, y'all are free to stay, y'all are free to leave, etc.
It's like
Julian, how are you
everything
liking the
happening.
Cutthroat alumni chat?
Is everything happening like right now? Like the votes being read and free.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank God, because I can't just come back to this. I'm already invested. Let's get this done.
Oh, this is all happening tonight.
Billy said I'm sleepy.
Billy is work tomorrow morning.
How early?
Work in 4 hours, baby.
That's what you get for working overnight. So
Don't remind me.
I'm surprised nobody brought up bringing up Chris working multiple jobs as a part of my question.
Texas Roadhouse and a hotel, you better kill it.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, X, I have a question about that. Now that X.
Is on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot I was on mute.
Okay.
You work at a hotel too, right?
I did at one point, yes.
Why was that one shut down? Like you said, it was shut down due to Corona.
No, I chose to not risk my life, even though it probably wasn't at risk. I was not about to work in the middle of a pandemic. Because knowing me, I would not keep my mask on 24/7. What, Chris?
I wish I had that offer. We're not closing down during COVID-19. I said we're not getting any business.
Okay, next up is Nick.
Is back in the building.
Oh, this one's a real nail biter.
Ain't it? I will say, I really came into this being like, okay, I know what the 3 of them are going to say. And then slap me in the face when all 3 of you improved from what I thought you were.
Yeah, I was impressed by all 3 of you. And Jay, I'm sorry that I went at you hard. I thought that was a funny line.
It's all good. It's all good.
I really like the game that you played.
You don't be 26 years old and let an online game affect you.
Actually, I would like to grab the mic out of Julian's hands and just say for Pietro,
I was speaking.
Jay, X, the jury just had a grilling of you guys. So, since this is the last time we're all going to be together, if you would like to roast any of us, now would be the time to do so.
Let me have it. Let me have it. Wait, after I cast my vote, yeah.
Do it while he's casting.
I mean, out of everyone who's
Well,
voted,
now that he's got none.
I don't have anyone to roast, but I did enjoy the roasting.
Jake's a full mess. I told him that in the jury chat too. He's a mess.
He really did roast all 3 of us very quickly.
Wait, Julie, are we doing the quote unquote reunion that 10 Gauge calls it, where you give give the thoughts and everything as well?
Oh, some of us are getting awards.
I'm not getting
you,
an
Edgic.
I hope they do. Oh,
Actually,
Imagine getting an award.
I can only be OTTN how many weeks in a row and not let it affect me.
I played one game where somebody literally played for the Edgic, and the entire time he was like, trying to predict his edgic, and then he like was the third place finisher, and it was so funny.
Was he accurate?
No, so off. Like the entire time he was like, okay, I think that the jury
Jake
thinks
is back, guys. Let's change the conversation.
What?
Oh.
Jake is back. Let's change the conversation.
Oh yeah.
You're right. Let me have it, y'all. Let
actually,
me have it.
I have a question for you, Pietro, now, because now that
Oh,
they've
no.
both voted, it was a common thing that Nick and Jake were both like, oh, Pietro was my number 2. Oh,
I knew this was coming.
Yep. So now that they've both voted, Pietro, gun to your own, let's not say gun, face to jalapeno peppers that are super spicy. Once and for all, Jake or Nick? Jake or Nick?
I think it's
I
100%
can't
Jake.
pick.
You are such a mess.
It was the game is a final 3, and that was my final 3. Like I don't get to pick. I get to sit with them the final 3.
Were you gonna throw final 3 immunity?
No.
Yes, he was.
No.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
He knew
No,
we were
you
both
weren't.
going to take him no matter
Pietro,
what.
no, you weren't. No.
That's why I can't stand the kid.
Because I was going to try my ass off in that immunity. I knew that.
Me and Nick were going to
go each other at 4.
You and Nick hated each other. Like every time I was in the call with Jake, Jake was talking bad things about Nick. When I was talking with Nick, and he was talking bad things about Nick. I had to babysit you to the entire game. Like, stop going against each other. Let's work together.
But he sat in all those chats. Right, Jake, you're so right. Nick, yeah, you're right. I know. Wait,
I missed his answer. What was his answer?
He said he couldn't decide.
He said he pleaded the 5th.
Same,
He pleaded the 5th.
Everyone mute. Everyone mute.
All of the votes are in. I'm going to stop this recording, write them down, and then start it
Oh my
up.
God, I should probably go